have two lives, but your second one starts only when you realize you have one.
So one of the first standalone restaurants that was of that size, it was 11,500 square feet, over three floors, overlooking the Qutub Minars. 2006, I lost my father very suddenly on the squash court. My usage of whether it was alcohol or drugs or whatever it was started very young, I think when I was 14, 15. And it started off, of course, socially and as it would for anybody at that age, right? When the first trauma hit, which was my father, that's probably when the usage became a dependency. Addiction is a disease, right? So it's a progressive disease, right? So what happens with addiction is that as you get further and further into the disease, your functionality diminishes. So it's inverted, right? The greater your addiction, the less your functionality. Why me? My father died, my brother died, my mother died, my businesses failed, my relationships failed, my everything was wrong. There's a fine line between willpower and willingness, right? My fiance at the time, who's now my wife, but at that point had left me because my mother had told her that I don't want you being with my son, he's going to ruin your life.
And the right partner helps?
Unbelievably. For me, my journey worked and my desire worked. Touch wood, I'm blessed to have a very, very, very large support system.
Where were you born?
I was born in Delhi, but immediately after we moved to Hong Kong. So when I was about 9 months old, we moved to Hong Kong.
And how was Hong Kong like?
It was amazing. My grandparents lived there, my paternal grandparents. So they actually lived there for 37 years. So we were always in and out of Hong Kong. It's like a second home.
Right. How was your relationship in Hong Kong or growing up with authority figures and parents and your family
Fantastic.
dynamic?
It was fantastic. We grew up in a nuclear yet very extended family. So my mother, my father, my elder sister, and myself. But
Right.
we were brought up by my grandparents, my maternal grandmother, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody. It was just everybody was always all together. It was amazing. It was great.
And did you find your way through that sort of certain sort of nuclear family? Did you have any sort of alliances, allegiances to certain sort of?
I think everybody generally, as a child, you would have certain alliances and allegiances depending on the situation.
Right.
So if I wanted something
Right.
particular, I would go to my mother. If I wanted something particular, I would go to my father.
Right.
The grandparents were always around. Elder sister was always around. Came back to Delhi, spent 4 years here, and then went back to Canada.
Canada.
And, yeah.
So this is because of your parents. They were
My
moving.
father.
Your
My father at
was-
the time was working with Air India. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So he was moving around Hong Kong, Canada.
Hong Kong,
Canada,
Delhi,
where?
Canada. Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah.
And you lived there for how long?
5 years again.
5 years.
Yeah.
So formative years in Canada.
Yeah,
How was
formative
that?
years actually. So middle school to high school, yeah.
Okay. Which one?
Don Mills Middle School, Don Mills
So it's a
Collegiate.
day school. So you used to come back.
Yeah, we were living there as a family. Yeah. So
And
it's-
friends you made? Some?
absolutely.
very-
Still in touch with them.
And which college was this? School?
School was a local public school, Don Mills Middle School, and then Don Mills Collegiate, and then I came back to Delhi for my last 4 years.
Okay. So oh really?
Yeah, of school.
Your father moved back. Basically.
At that point, my father took early retirement from Air India and moved back to India.
What was your certain take away from the Canadian sort of educational system and the friends you made there? Were they
It
very
was
different? Was
amazing.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing because
This was in the
it was 1991 February to 1996,
Okay.
from the age of sort of 10 and a bit till I was about 15, 15 and a half.
This is your first exposure to a certain sort of community, was it?
Well,
No.
because we used to travel so much when we were
Right.
kids, right? We were traveling all over the world, always.
Were your parents critical, encouraging? Were you constantly seeking validation growing up from your parents?
Never,
Never?
never.
For example, if you prefer criticism or encouragement?
I don't think there was a preference. I think we just grew up in this environment, which was, I know it sounds idealistic, but it was as idyllic as it comes. It was an idyllic childhood. It was because, you know, my father was an avid sportsman, so he was encouraging of my sport.
Sportsman, tennis?
Squash. My father was, multiple sports. My father he swam for India, he played squash for India, he played hockey
India?
for Delhi. He played hockey for Delhi, football for Delhi, athletics. There were 6 sports that he played for the country. So he was.
But it's so interesting. How did he manage to fit all those incredible sort of the time to improve and sophisticate his learning in those sports? His time is so.
It was my grandfather was in the Navy, my dada, and he was also an avid sportsman. So was my dadi. She played tennis for India. My grandfather played squash for India. So it was, we just grew up in this very, very sporty
And
kind of family.
I know that today you are an avid squash
I
player.
am an avid squash player.
Yeah.
An average squash player.
An avid, not average. I didn't say that. Now, Vidur, you have 2 lives, but your second one starts only when you realize you have one.
Absolutely. That's beautifully put. You caught me off guard there, but beautifully put. I love that. I call it Vidur 1.0 and Vidur 2.0.
Exactly.
And Vidur 2.0 really did start when I realized that there is only one Vidur. It's just different stages,
Right.
but there is only one life to live.
It takes so many years for one to realize this, and to put in practice, of course. Because, I was a very anxious adolescent. Were you?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think the exposure. My parents are very social as well, so I was constantly surrounded by, if not the extended family, the extended chosen family, which would be all my parents' friends, their kids. We were exposed to so much as children growing up.
Really?
Yeah, there was no anxiety. There was no, my parents. There was no like seeking for approval ever.
Yeah, because I found growing up, like, because I used to play tennis, like,
Yeah.
and if someone discouraged me from it, like if they criticized me, I wouldn't do as well as someone who would say, "Good shot." Then I would be motivated to do better.
Better, right?
Right?
So the strange part is actually through all the sports that I played competitively as a youngster. Today we see a lot of parents, and this is not judgmental or discouraging or in any way, portraying anything towards any kind of parent. But we see so many parents who are sort of helicopter parenting, going to take their
Control,
kids,
you mean?
or just going and making sure that they're there for sporting activities or extracurriculars or this or that. Growing up, I don't think any single, whether it was a tennis match or a football match or any sort of sporting activity, I don't think my parents, father nor mother, ever came and attended it because not out of lack of wanting to encourage me, but just because they wanted me to go in my own chosen direction of my own volition.
Did that have a certain sort of impact?
No, in fact, I think it's the way I would want to bring up my two girls as well, because I want them to play sport, but I want them to play the sport that they want to play, of their choosing. So I don't want to ever force them into anything.
And
You
today
see?
they're how old?
They're 3 and 4. Yeah.
So you don't want to force anything upon them.
I would like for them to try everything, but eventually what they choose is for them to choose, the way I did.
Right.
And the experiences that they have will be from the paths that they choose. I will always be there, as will Soila, my wife, to support them through everything. But their choices, their journeys, their destination will be their own, because that's the way I was brought up.
So you had a life at school, which was very different dynamically than the life you had at home. Was there any truths that you didn't want to share?
No, absolutely nothing. Anything that I did, my parents knew. Anything that I did in front of my parents. In fact, growing up until even maybe a few years ago, my home was always the home where everybody congregated, whether it was during the day or at night or night into morning. It was always my house. It was always the place where, okay, safe space for everybody, all my friends, all throughout my life. Yeah.
And after school, I mean, school was Delhi.
School, my final 4 years were
Which
the British school in Delhi.
British school?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
That was
It
great.
must have been
It
quite
was great. Some of the best years of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was which years?
96 to 99.
And then, of course, you applied to college.
Yeah. Then I went to the UK.
Where?
I went to the UK, to the University of London, on a tennis scholarship. Yeah. So, yeah. And now I'm sort of a hybrid squash player, playing tennis on a squash court. But,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Talk me through your years between college and your first work.
So I came back from university from the UK in 2002. I graduated. I came back in 2003, and my father was very keen that I try out something professional.
Right.
And mainstream. So I was a private banker with ICICI.
In Delhi.
Yeah, in Delhi for about 9 months, and that was when I realized that mainstream wasn't for me, and I'm the furthest thing from mainstream.
Right.
So I hit my targets, completed my what I needed to do, and then without telling anybody, I just put in my resignation and came back home.
London must have been an incredible burst of freedom.
I was there for 3 for university, and then 1 to figure out work and my life and all of that. And that way my parents were very liberal in terms of giving me that freedom, which was great. But I don't think London really changed anything. I was always
Didn't.
I was
For me.
It did, right? Yeah. I think because, like I said, because home was never a restricted place. It was always very free for all,
There wasn't that kind of disparity.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, okay, the freedom was so vastly different, No, it was, okay, I'm going away, and, in fact, maybe the only thing, maybe it was in some ways the opposite, because I didn't have the freedom of, having a car or having, somebody to do things for me as we spoiled.
But we did work. I mean, we did
children.
UCAS form, we did GCSE levels, right?
Yeah.
And then England action happened.
So interesting, my UCAS form, which I don't think we've spoken about, but my essay in my UCAS form was about how I wanted to open a a sports bar. And
Which you should do, actually.
but eventually it was 2009 when, so I graduated 2002. My applications obviously went in 98. So I filled my UCAS form in 98. And eventually in 2009, I eventually opened, okay, not a sports bar, but a very high-end fine dining, and got into F&B.
Really, where?
In Merali, circa
So
1193.
this was in 90, you said 2000 and
2009, 2010.
called?
It was called circa 1193.
Correct.
It was opposite the Merali, the opposite the Qutub Minar in Merali.
Yeah.
So
There were two places. There was Olive.
Olive and
Your
Us.
place.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it.
That's kind of groundbreaking.
It was it was groundbreaking because it was also the one of the first standalone restaurants that was of that size. It was 11,500 square feet,
Oof.
over three floors, overlooking the Qutub Minars.
You created the menu.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, created the menu.
So tell me about that, because
It was
you're a genius when it comes to.
I don't
Yeah, you are.
don't want to say genius, but I enjoy it. I'm very passionate about food and about being in the kitchen and putting flavors together, and so
You revolutionized the industry. I'm sorry to say. You have to accept that.
I can't take the credit for that.
You'll have to take the credit for that. Your menus have always been kind of, yes.
Well, interestingly enough, we were the first restaurant to out of 60 dishes, we had one chicken dish on the entire menu.
Tell me why?
Because I wanted it to be a, having lived outside India most of my life, traveled the world, eaten at some of the best restaurants. Like every good Punjabi boy, I thought my mother's cooking was the best cooking in the world. So, we never ate much chicken at home. It was always different proteins, a little bit more exotic maybe. And I didn't want to put as much chicken on the menu. And this being Delhi, we had to do some sort of chicken iteration. So we did one chicken dish out of 60, which was it was called tori karage, which is a Japanese fried chicken with a ponzu sauce. And at that point in time,
Nothing like that was.
only in the 5 stars, so like a wasabi would have it. Or,
Okay.
And after 3 months of the restaurant being open, we realized that after a sales analysis across the board, including liquor sale and food sale and party sale and all of that, 25% of our revenue came from that one fried chicken dish. So we had to revamp a little bit and adjust to the Delhi palate.
And then something happened.
Progressively, many things happened.
Walk me through it.
So 2006, I lost my father very suddenly on the squash court. He was playing his regular game of squash in the evening, and I was on my way to the club because I used to play half an hour after him. And I got a call from my mom, and she said, Paz, fainted on the court, or he's collapsed on the court or whatever. And so obviously the car went into overdrive on my way to the Gymkhana. And by the time I got there, they'd already taken him to Ashlok, to the hospital. And Oku Uncle, the doctor there, was his best friend. And I rushed into the ICU and I just saw him pumping his heart. And but it was over before he'd even gotten to the hospital. So I think from then on, my journey sort of capitulated between what I would say, trying to figure out what maybe I thought my father would want for me and what I really wanted.
That realization wasn't immediate. I remember losing my father in 2011. I was 31, and I couldn't grieve. I don't know about you, if it was the same. I just didn't know how to.
I don't think any of us know how to grieve, though, right? Grief is something we continuously learn things about.
Right.
But I definitely don't think that at 2006, I was 25 and a half,
You had this restaurant, your father passed away. And
Well, the restaurant came later, but
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the restaurant came in 2009.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but I was it was, and my sister was married in the UK, and so it was my mom and I in the old version of this home, which we've just reconstructed a few years ago. But yeah, it was. I think you're right. I don't think you know how to grieve at that point in time, and you're constantly, like I said, capitulating between maybe what you think they would have wanted for you and what you really want for yourself, and balancing the two is never easy, and so you kind of try and find a middle ground, and that middle ground isn't always the best way.
But you did start your own restaurant and one in Goa as well.
Goa came later, 2013, 2014.
You
was
decided
amazing.
to.
It was amazing. Actually, my mom, so 2006, my father passed away. 2009, I opened, 2009,
What was it
2010.
called? The restaurant in Goa?
It was called L'Atelier at Anahata.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so Anahata is run by a very, very close friend.
And trust me, people today still remember your wonderful dishes on the menu.
I mean, again,
that's something.
I hope they do. It was an experience and a half living in Goa for a year.
A year?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just after my mom had had a heart transplant.
Oh God, you went through that as well. Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I felt like I sort of needed, because we moved to Chennai for my mom's transplant for about 8 to 9 months, and we were back and forth.
Chennai, why?
It's the only place in India which has an organized donor network at the time, 2013. And so my mom was there full time, and my sister and I would do 2 weeks and 2 weeks, or 2 weeks and 2 weeks, because she had a family here and I had work here. So my sister and I didn't actually see each other for those 9 months properly, except for when we were sort of passing, like a relay, almost passing the baton to each other, to one another. And she would leave for the airport and I would arrive. Or I would be leaving for the airport and she would arrive. And so we didn't actually get to spend any time together. But we were with my mom the whole time, at least one of us. And of course, my
She recovered.
she did. She got the heart transplant 8 months, 9 months later, and she was with us she got an extra 5.5 years with us, which was, thank you to the donor family. We got 5.5 years extra with my mom, which is amazing. But of course, she was fragile, and but I look back on those years, and with my journey, the parts of it that I remember and the parts of it that I don't. But the parts of it that I do remember, I choose to remember with fondness and with love, rather than, looking back on it as oh my God, it was such a difficult time.
You had to find your feet very quickly.
Yeah, I did. Touch wood, I'm blessed to have a very, very, very large support system. Be it family, friends, friends who are family. That phrase very often goes, people say it a lot, chosen family. But when you actually dig deep into the meaning of chosen family, I know, I can only speak for myself. I actually feel it every day, who my chosen family are, till today, every day. And I'm so grateful for all of them.
I understand. I'm going to touch on a sensitive subject.
Absolutely.
The problem.
Mm-hmm.
The certain sort of absence of truth and the big lie that we tell each other. When do you think, in your very successful career as an entrepreneur, which you are, and you're absolutely wonderful at it, what were the motivations behind that?
So I think it's an interesting way to look at it, because everybody obviously has different perspectives. That's what perspective means, right? Is to be able to look at things from
different perspectives.
yeah,
Yes.
different angles, different avenues. And I always use this analogy, is that much like a fingerprint, everybody's got a different fingerprint. Everybody's journey is, there are no two journeys in the world that are alike. Um, and my usage of whether it was alcohol or drugs or whatever it was started very young. I think when I was 14, 15. And it started off, of course, socially, and as it would for anybody at that age, right? And it progressively became, because I was social and I was out a lot, it became frequent. And then when the first trauma hit, which was my father, maybe this is in hindsight, of course, and in hindsight, everybody has 2020. That's probably when the usage became a dependency. Alcohol, and then further, obviously.
Later, but alcohol
Well,
initially.
yeah. I mean, alcohol initially became the dependency. I had started trying many various different kinds of drugs and substances much earlier,
At that age, it was fine. It wasn't affecting anything really. You were.
So I think I think I was, for a very, very, very long time, I think what they would label a functional alcoholic or functional addict.
Right.
Where the dysfunctionality came in, you never know where the twain meet. Lines blur, and honestly, if I could look back and pinpoint a day or a time or even a period in my life where that overlap happened for me, I probably wouldn't be able to actually do it and pinpoint it. I'm sure people who know me well enough and look at my journey from outside the box would be able to, and who are close enough to me would be able to tell you. I don't know when I went from being functional to dysfunctional, because I don't think we ever do know. And when I say we, I mean addicts.
No, of course. Yeah. It's age, also. I feel.
Age,
Right.
experiences, trauma, grief, not being able to handle it, not knowing the right way to handle it being the addiction, it being the grief, it being the trauma.
It's consuming.
It's all consuming, right? But as you grow, you learn, right? That if you constantly look back and say, why me?
You're right. Why me?
Then you get stuck in quicksand. And when
You do? You think?
when you fight quicksand, what happens?
You fall.
Drown further. So, and of course, this is all great wisdom, now that I'm 7 years sober, touch wood, and, in active recovery. But I do think, I think I learn something new every day. And I think that's the most beautiful part of the journey that I'm on.
You were doing all these wonderful things, and I mean, I met you. You had your cafes, your bars,
Yeah.
and how was it juggling?
Functional.
You were juggling.
Functional,
Yeah.
and then you progress. Addiction is a disease, right? So it's a progressive disease, right? So what happens with addiction is that as you get further and further into the disease, your functionality diminishes. So it's almost, it's inverted, right? The greater your addiction, the less your functionality.
So all the companies you had, the functionality, were they
Diminishing functionality. Doing it to prove to myself that I'm not an addict,
Right.
because the biggest part of being an addict is manipulating oneself into believing that you're not.
Your brain, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you stopped, were you lonely? Can you be surrounded by people and still be alone? And when alone, not lonely?
I mean, I think there are two different questions there. So
There are.
should we address the first one?
Yeah.
When I stopped, there are multiple times that I stopped, of
Yes,
course.
of course.
Nobody gets it right the first time, and if you do, you're very lucky, you know?
Oh, talking about first time, did you go to an abstinence place?
I went to what? Yeah,
Abstinence place. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I was forcibly sent to, forcibly out of love and care and consideration, sent to my first rehab, which was in Delhi itself. And I was there for 67 days. And I came back, and on the way back from the rehab itself, I knew that I was going to drink again or use again. So it really didn't do anything. It was more like a detention center.
Okay, so you knew that you were in a confined environment. Your brain was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm in a confined. I've
I
got.
wasn't ready to go to rehab at that point, or I wasn't ready to be sober at that time.
Because you weren't forced.
I went because I hurt myself.
Yes.
And I wasn't conscious when I was at home, in this home, but the old version of this home.
Right.
And I was in my bed, and I hurt myself. I harmed myself. And the next thing I remember was I woke up at this very alien place in restraints. And that was there for 67 days. And it was
How was that?
It was hell. It was hell.
Yeah.
But I think that's a function of me not being ready.
So that's the first one.
That's the first one.
That's the first one.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So
There were a few more,
there are a few more. You
but I wasn't ready.
You relapsed.
I don't think I ever stopped to have to relapse. I stopped because I was in a confined space where I didn't have access to.
So you mentioned that when you were released, you were thinking of maybe.
Oh, I mean, I was picked up by my. I was not picked. I was released and collected from the rehab by my sister and my then fiance, and we, of course, the pretense and the manipulative games and mind and it was constantly telling them, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And we came back, reached home, lasted all of maybe 12 hours. And the next thing you know, I was buying booze and calling my dealer and,
Yeah.
sorting myself out. So the first 3 rehabs that I went to were either forcibly or then to please other people around me. I wasn't ready. Nowhere close to it.
Were you intrinsic motivations to leave substances? I mean, was it willpower, or willpower is exhausting
So
after a while?
So how about we put this into context? Because I love the word willpower. I don't love it in context to me and to the disease of addiction. And I say this very often to a lot of the people who reach out for help, is there's a fine line between willpower and willingness, right? If you ask me today, do I have the willpower to quit smoking? I would turn around and tell you, no, I don't. When I say smoking, I mean cigarettes, nothing mind-altering, right? Do I have the willingness to quit smoking? No, I don't. Do I have the willingness to remain sober for the rest of my life? To never consume something mind-altering? Absolutely. Because I've seen what it's done to me, and I've seen what it's done to all the people around me who love me and who I love and who I'm grateful and blessed to have in my life. And I don't want to ever put them through that. So I think, people talk about rock bottom and people talk about when you're ready, right? When you're ready translates to when you have the willingness and desire from within to want it, not willpower. Because willpower is transient.
Correct.
Willingness, more often than not, is lifelong.
Emotions, coping with them. I find that coping with heightened emotion, those triggers that one might feel in everyday life, the cravings, the urges, etc. Were you able to get a hold, get a grip concerning those emotions that you might feel every day? And how were you able to regulate them? Because I find, people who are incredibly sensitive, who do have a who are prone to
Addiction.
Emotional, before the physical manifestation of addiction, it happens in your head, and on a subconscious level or an emotional level. So to regulate that emotion, how were you able to do that and keep doing it today?
So look, it's
In recovery, of course.
yeah. So it's again, I think it's a two-part kind of answer. One is when you're not ready, which I wasn't for a long time. I had 24 years of usage under my belt before I got sober.
Yes.
Right? And I think when you're not ready, you're not able to regulate any of that because you're constantly playing a game with yourself. And by playing a game with yourself or manipulating yourself, you're manipulating all the people who love you.
You hurt people.
Absolutely. All the time. With every move. When you're finally ready, and this is the second part, right? Is when you finally are ready, when you have that willingness, that desire, that innate, inherent
Clarity
want.
of thought.
Want. It's a want. It's as much as like a kid in a candy store, I want it. To be able to bridge that gap from wanting it to connecting the dots to having it. So I did a bunch of AA. It was either forced upon me or I was doing it to please other people, or I was doing it to prove to other people that I'm, sober. But straight from the AA meeting, I would go to the Theka or to the closest local bar. And at that point in time, you were consuming so much that you would be drinking Magic Moments, the cheapest form of liquor you could possibly get, because the copious amounts were just unaffordable.
Magic Moments is a...
Wait,
you started with Magic Moments, or
no?
you start with high end?
I mean, you start with the best of the best. When you realize how much you can actually consume, or how much you need to consume.
Then what happens when you
to
get
feed your disease? Yeah, by the end of it, I was drinking six bottles of vodka and doing 6 bags of cocaine a day.
Wait a second, it's not possible. 6 bottles of vodka a day. I'm sorry.
My wife is somewhere around. You can call her in.
6 bottles of vodka a day?
Yeah, and 6 bags of cocaine. Not a day, a night. I manipulated my brain up until the final month of my usage.
Look at you.
That I was not an addict because I never drank during the day. But that's why I always say there's no dictionary definition of an addict. And I'm nobody.
Okay, so AA.
So AA, sorry, coming back.
No.
I always
like
lose
this.
track.
I like this AA, but what do they teach you? That it's okay not to? What happens?
I don't know. When I was attending AA meetings when I was still using. And I was attending AA meetings under pressure. And I was attending AA meetings to please other people. and to prove to other people that I was sober. But the feeling that I got, and of course, this is not taking away anything from AA, because it saved millions of lives over the many years that it's been in existence. And there are people who subscribe to it and still go for meetings. And, of course, I personally don't subscribe to any school of thought, whether it's AA meetings or rehab, or I don't think there's any magical space or magical time or magical journey that happens. I
What
think
worked for you? How did you break associations?
my mother passed away on the 3rd of November, 2018. I had a massive seizure at home 3 days later. I was rushed to the hospital where I was told that I had third stage cirrhosis and I had a few weeks to live. So I needed to turn my life around or continue using. By now, my father is no more. My mother has just passed. My sister was, no, it's a journey. There's nothing, it's, if I keep looking back on it and victimizing myself or traumatizing myself about it, then I'll never move forward. So, my sister at that point she's a single mother and, two sort of, young children. My fiance at the time, who's now my wife, but at that point had left me because my mother had told her that I don't want you being with my son, he's going to ruin your life, before passing. And when I was in hospital, I had a choice to make after my seizure, 3 days after my mother died. So I said, okay, fine, finish the last rites, finish, the end of the mourning period. And for some reason, I set a date that I would go to my first ever rehab of my own volition. A very, very dear friend who's also in active recovery. He's a year younger than me, but he's 22 years sober. Had been pushing and pushing and pushing. He probably saved my life. Pushed me and told me go. And this is the first time I went on my own. So 3rd of November, my mother passed away. 13th of November, 10 days later, I was leaving for rehab the next day. It was in Bombay. And so 14th of November is my sobriety date, because that was the 13th was the last, so the 13th of November was the last day I touched anything that was mind-altering. The 14th of November, I first flew out to Bombay with family, friends, huge support system, all flew me out. This rehab is an hour and a half outside Bombay. They drove
Where
me
did
there.
land?
Land. Again, I don't subscribe to what you're taught at land. I don't say it's a magical space. I don't think that it has a success rate. I think it was just the time and place that I was at in my life. My fingerprint, like I said, my journey.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was ready.
Yeah, you're right.
And I wanted it. And I want it every day. So badly. Still. And it's that want that translates to the willingness, right?
That you mentioned.
Yeah, that's...
Willpower, willingness.
Willpower is transient.
Willingness.
Willpower has a start and a stop. Willingness can have a start and a stop, but more often than not, the roots run a little deeper.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And did your friends alienate you? I mean, some of them, when you went
No,
into sobriety, or vice versa?
not at all.
Did you?
No. I'm blessed, touch wood. I'm fortunate, grateful to have the most wonderful support system. They lift me up every day. I couldn't be luckier. I couldn't be more fortunate. I very often think that I've done something right, either in my, whether you believe in past life, or maybe my goodwill from my parents, or the goodwill from things that I've done in my life. Whatever it is, I'm supported by so many people.
Important to be.
It's hugely important to be, because AA will tell you you can't associate with the people that you used with. Rehabs will tell you the same thing. Throw away your phone book, throw away your mobile. Can't be around the people that you used with. But those are the people that saved my life. How can I just throw them away?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So no.
Yeah.
You know, for 3 years, unbeknownst to me, there was a WhatsApp group with 86 people on it, where they would follow me around and make sure there were 2 or 3 people with me at any given point in time, which I didn't know about. I only found out about later.
Really.
How can I turn around and tell those people that, oh yeah, because you were drinking with me or using with me, I can't, now that I'm sober, I can't be with you anymore.
It's kind of hypocritical, isn't it? That some people are labeled alcoholics, but then some other people don't have certain sort of anger management issues, and they're not. You know what I mean? You're alienated from society.
No,
You're labeled.
I don't think so. I think on a grassroots, really broad spectrum level, there is a stigma still attached to addiction. And,
But the easiest addiction to attack is substance abuse, when there's so many more.
absolutely. But there's people who, when I used to go to AA, there's people who used to come and they've never had a drink in their life. They used to be addicted to Amazon shopping, or they used to be addicted to
Social
pornography
pornography, yeah.
or social media, or any kind of addiction. But in India, we have AA and we have small sects of NA, Narcotics Anonymous.
Right.
We don't have general, Addiction Anonymous, or, whatever.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to rewire your brain? Because Pavlov's dog, that whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
intrinsically, if my neurons are wired differently and they fire differently
Right.
than a normal person's, right? A non-addict, right? And they are. Trust me, they are. Because every addiction has a deflection. So when I stopped using, I got addicted to dessert, right? Or I got addicted to even more physical fitness than earlier, where I've always been a sportsman, but it became ritualistic.
I sometimes find that one could have done much more if one wasn't prone to certain sort of, I won't call them flaws, but certain sort of addictions. Do you feel that?
No, but it's so beautiful, right? Because
Tell me about the beauty of it.
the journey is so beautiful, right? Samar, think about it. I'll go out today and I'll walk, and people who've known me I'm 45, and people who've known me for, say, 40 years of my life will sometimes walk right by me without recognizing me, still till today. 7 years of sobriety later and counting, touch wood, one day at a time, If there's one thing that I agree with about recovery and what everybody preaches, is it is one day at a time, right? Because every day I have to be grateful. Every day I have to be humble enough to know that the addiction can come back at any point in time. But when I say the beauty of this journey and the beauty of recovery, or how you juxtaposed and said you could have done a lot more, as in,
Not you, but
one could have
One
done,
could have.
how one could have done a lot more to overcome my genetic disposition or predisposition, my DNA sequencing, my wiring of my neurons, every single day,
Yeah.
every single day I get a win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
You know,
And the right partner helps?
unbelievably.
Yes, of course it does.
Supportive,
Support.
understanding, because as an addict, in recovery, I have
The lies, man. The
the
lies.
but the lies aren't there anymore.
No,
The lies were there, yeah, initially, of course. My mother was a strong enough woman when she was alive to turn around and tell my wife, who is my wife today, at that point in time, that she's not going to allow Sohaila to marry me, because she's not going to. Our wedding date was a month from the day that my mother called Sohaila and said, I'm not going to let you marry my son. And Sohaila said, why? And she said, because he's going to ruin your life. And it was true. I would have. I was ruining mine. The truth of it is that it's a small wins, right? And
do you forget? Does one forget? Or do you
me or the people around? I can't speak for people around. I can only speak for myself, right? And the first, say, 3 years or 4 years of my sobriety were consumed with guilt. Consumed. Constantly looking to make up for things that I could have done wrong or did do wrong, or things that maybe I didn't even do wrong, that I was projecting on myself or that people were projecting on me, right? And then as you progress through that journey, you sort of vindicate yourself.
People come around?
It's not about people. You come around.
You come around?
You have to vindicate yourself.
First. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The same way I have to first, within myself, decide that I want sobriety. The same way I have to then stop taking on a load of guilt. Sometimes justified, sometimes unjustified, but those are things that I did under the influence of whatever substance I was using. Now, that's a disease. I didn't ask for it. You know, whether it was my grandfather or my uncle or my whoever it was. Of course, genetic DNA sequence, right? I'm predisposed to it. You know, I didn't ask for that. Neither did somebody who has cancer ask for it. It's that simple. You know, if you throw yourself in front of hurl yourself in front of a car, you've asked for it. Right?
What worked for you?
For me, my journey worked. And my desire worked.
My
willingness worked. My willingness
Your
worked.
willingness.
My want.
Yeah.
You want to talk, if you want to make it sound as raw as possible, it was my want. I want it more every day. And every day that I wake up, today is the 4th of December. I'm 7 years and, 20 days sober.
Counting.
And counting, touch wood. Tomorrow will be another day. My 7 years and 21st day tomorrow, I'll want it more than I want it today.
Incredible.
Because the quality of the life that I'm leading today is, wow. It's
People tell us you can't get over your addiction without help from an outside source. Do other people understand? When you're going through active addiction, it's a very you're victimized. You're very easily blamed.
But the question is, are you victimized or do you victimize yourself? Because I'll tell you from the inside, And I spent many years victimizing myself and saying, oh, why me? My father died, my brother died, my mother died, my businesses failed, my relationships failed, my, everything was wrong. I put on 50 kilos, uh, why me? Why me?
Why me?
Why me?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
But instead of victimizing and me doing it without realizing to myself,
Right.
I didn't ask for any of those things to happen to me, but the actionables, those are on me.
You have a beautiful soul, great sensitivity for your wonderful art.
It's my
Your
pop-up
design,
room.
your
I call this my chore bazaar room
it's
because it's little pockets of things from everywhere.
incredibly
With
gorgeous.
the gramophone from the Murphy's gramophone from 1952, I think it is. It's amazing. My
But look at us.
totally mismatched.
We've been so close to death, and we're still here,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Very close to that multiple times. Don't plan on getting there for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Have a full life to live.
Yeah.
Want to be around to get my daughters away.
Of course.
You know.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And thank you for having us.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.